So welcome back, everyone. Hope you had a chance to have a bit of a network and also get some coffee and some of the nice pastries out there. So guys, the next two sessions before lunch at 12:30 are going to focus on how the insurance industry can be affected and impacted by blockchain technology. So our second session is a panel, but right now it's my pleasure. I want to introduce Subhajahat Mandal, who is a Director of Innovation at MetLife Innovation Center, and he is going to give us a very interesting presentation about how blockchain can be utilized in the health insurance industry. So without further ado, I'll pass you over. Thank you very much.
Hello. Yes, perfect. Hello, everybody. My name is Subhajahat Mandal. Mondi is an easy nickname. I work at MetLife's innovation center called LumenLab, and we have been working on a blockchain experiment for a while. Before I start going into the slides, we have a quick video that will give you a sense of what is it that we are trying to do. 2.5-minute videos, it gives you the sense, and then I'll start a deep dive into what we built, how we built, and why we built it. Can we have the video, please? Thank you. No audio?
InsureChain leverages the power of distributed
Can we
ledger
restart,
to eliminate
please?
the headaches
Thank
of
you.
claims and getting paid. Getting insurance today. At InsureChain, we're on a mission to simplify life and health insurance. We've built a platform that connects directly to health records and other data, with instantaneous underwriting on the customer's phone. InsureChain leverages the power of distributed ledger to eliminate the headaches of claims and getting paid. Getting insurance today is a pain. Every step just seems to involve, well, hassle. So, we've designed a unique insurance customer journey. Meet Alice. She just turned 30 and is starting to think about protecting herself. Signing up for InsureChain takes her less than 2 minutes. No more lengthy forms, waiting, and opaque processes. Alice just tells us her ID number and bank details, and we do the rest. InsureChain then creates a smart contract on our distributed ledger for Alice, setting up the rules for automatic payouts. Some months later, when Alice is hospitalized, her electronic medical record triggers an automatic payout thanks to InsureChain's proprietary smart contract. So Alice can focus on getting better without once having to worry about insurance. We've built InsureChain from the ground up. The mobile app performs instantaneous parametric underwriting and policy issuance on the customer's phone without the insurer accessing any health data, guaranteeing customer privacy and security. InsureChain runs on a distributed ledger, creating smart contracts that can substantially streamline the insurance value chain. It reduces operating costs by saving on paperwork, audit, reconciliation, and more. InsureChain is a technology platform that can launch any parametric insurance product. To prove the model and quantify the benefits, we're running an experiment in Singapore called Vatana, providing pregnant mothers simple gestational diabetes coverage. It is powered by our private distributed ledger between Swiss Re, the reinsurer, Vault Dragon, the electronic medical record provider, and MetLife. With InsureChain, new business models, products, and services can be built to target new risk pools more simply and cheaply, benefiting both customers and insurers. A successful InsureChain will deliver MetLife's significant competitive advantage and revolutionize the way we offer insurance. So what will you build with InsureChain?
That's a bit of a marketing kind of video, but we wanted to get the message across. Hope you get some primer into it. Before I start, what is LumenLab? LumenLab is MetLife's innovation center based out of Singapore. We don't have any operations in Singapore. That gives us a little more remit to do a little more experiments, a little outside our BAU, and that's where gave us the remit of InsureChain. What is InsureChain? It's a project which started about 2 years back when my boss came to me and said, Mondi, blockchain, is there something that we should be experimenting on this? And over the 2 years we worked on it, we came up with multiple variations of it, and the one that we ended up is the current platform that we built with the intention to simplify the customer experience as well as hopefully the hypothesis is we'll have some cost benefits as well. I'm going to spend 5 minutes on this. This is possibly the most important slide. What's the problem? Unless we understand the problem, there's no point building a solution, and there's no point of this presentation. There are two big problems in the insurance space as we like to talk about it. The first is from the customer point of view. And let me tell you a story. 3 years ago, when I joined my job, we get a term life group policy from the company. I get a lengthy form to fill up. I fill up that lengthy form, and I submit it to the insurer. 3 years hence, those forms have become digital. There is a lot of smartness built into those forms. But there's this one question in that form that says, have you been hospitalized in the past 5 years? The moment you say, yes, I've been hospitalized, I had some sort of an operation, that system breaks down. That system can't automate anymore. It becomes manual process where the insurer then asks me for my health records, the discharge summary of my operation. How do I get about doing that? I have to go to the hospital. How do I get those records? I have to fill up a form, pay for it. And then they mail it to me in an envelope in 3 weeks' time, which I mail further to the insurer because, at least in this case, a scan wouldn't do. They need the original, and that's when I have been underwritten. Why not a direct connectivity? It is happening around the world. In the US, since EHR has been implemented for the past 10 years, it's slowly getting there, but it's still a huge pain point in terms of onboarding the customer. So we solved that, not using blockchain, but it's an integral piece of the platform that we build. The second problem is claims. My wife doesn't know which insurance company I have a policy with. If I die, she wouldn't know which number to call. Obviously, now that I know, I've told her which number to call, but that is the case throughout the world. In Singapore, there are 10,000 policies that are still not claimed. It's on the public information. You can go and search if you are a beneficiary to a policy that you might want to claim for. But in today's day, especially when life and death is such a binary event, why not just go and proactively pay claims? A lot of insurance companies have been fined for not proactively paying claims. So those are the two big customer pain points that we wanted to solve as we were building this platform. The second one is the complex back office that runs with that claims operation process. The beneficiary has to call, fill up a form, submit the records for whatever claim that is, hospitalization or death, etc. That gets processed. How can we simplify that? That was the other thing from the back-end perspective, because if we do an experiment that has no potential benefits for the business, there's no point doing that experiment. So we build a platform, and what does that platform do? Try and solve those A/B. How do we do that? It has two pieces. One is a mobile app that does the underwriting at the client side. From anybody who's on the tech side, you can understand the underwriting logic is no more sitting on the company's server. It is sitting on the customer's phone. The way I like to describe that is it's like a CD. The rights to that song is still the singer's, but the CD that you own is your instance. By making the underwriting rules into an app, we still hold the rights to the logic, but the app itself is an instant owned by the customer on the customer's device that can process customers' health records. The compliance, legal, all the other hassles in terms of touching the health data kind of goes away. So when we went and took this to a health record provider and the clinics, they were like, oh, you want access to the health information? We said, no, we don't want. We want you to give a customer the access to their own health records on their own mobile phone, on their own mobile app. That tends to make the connecting to the health records much easier, allows us to do the underwriting instantaneously on the customer's phone. Once they become our customer, so if they're eligible, they make a payment, they become our customer, that policy then becomes a so-called smart contract on a distributed ledger, distributed between the insurer, reinsurer, the oracle in this case could be any health record provider, and also the regulator for auditory purposes. What does that smart contract do? Simply claims trigger. Because now the health record provider is no more sending the data to us, the insurer, but sending a snapshot of the data to a particular customer's smart contract, and they know exactly how that data is being used, and owing to that, the discussions around, oh, you have to have API connectivity to my health record system, that goes away. We are no more connecting to the health record systems provider. The health record system is pushing a very teeny tiny amount of snapshot of the data onto the distributed ledger at a point in time that allows us to do the automated claims trigger. So this is the customer journey. The customer downloads the app. The app connects to the health records, whichever it might be, does the underwriting process, issues, the customer makes a payment, standard e-commerce, and then the smart contracts get issued. The smart contract resides in the distributed ledger till an event happens. Apologies for the horrendous fonts. If my colleague saw that, she'll be killing me. But something happened on the conversion to PDF. But again, back to the event, the doctor's visit, a death gets pushed into the smart contract. The smart contract triggers the rules. The rules are within the smart contract. The smart contract goes and says, yes, a payout is required or not required, and then we make the payment. Let's be honest, this has been done. This has been done in the general insurance space. Ethereum showed how this can be done on flight insurance using the public Ethereum, and a few other insurances, instances of general insurance has been done. On the health side, this hasn't been done yet. I haven't at least seen an example. And what we have gone and done is do an experiment on the health side. So I'll come to that. A little bit on the lessons. What lessons did we learn? A very unique lesson we learned while we did this. We did the POC last year, and now we are on the verge of doing the live experiment. What we learned is you can't test a blockchain system in production mode. What do? You put a fake customer in your production blockchain, and then you can't remove it. That's a unique learning we had, and those are the things that'll tell you that somebody who has implemented one. The main benefit, the same question I ended up asking Danielle on stage, what was our learnings? Our learnings was the business conversation changes. Yes, we could do the same smart contract as a centralized architecture. MetLife hosts the system, and we tell the health record provider, the reinsurer, the regulator to connect to our systems. That conversation is not happening in our lifetime. Compliance, regulations, IT, for all parties will not allow that conversation to happen. Having an open API connected to MetLife's existing system is a conversation that will go nowhere. You change that conversation to saying, no, nobody's connecting to each other's systems. What you're doing is you have your own server, that server acts as a node, you own that server because you pay for that server's instance on Azure Cloud, AWS Cloud. You pass a little bit of your data, based on the business discussions we have had, and for whatever business reasons, you pass that data to your node into a specific smart contract, and you see exactly how that data is being used. Because it's not an open API connection anymore, it's a snapshot of the data in time, so the other parties cannot access anything other than that data. And because it's on a blockchain, the discussion on who owns the data goes away because it's shared. And we have used an Ethereum protocol, so everybody can see that data. That business discussion completely changes. And that allows us to do the implementation that we have gone and done. And lastly, the hypothesis on what's the benefit. Our current hypothesis is the reconciliation between the reinsurer and insurer becomes very different. You see, how does a reinsurer knows we have done the correct underwriting? They will go through every policy, do a sample check, and see if the customer that we underwritten followed the rules of underwriting. Now, they just go and check the code on the mobile app. How do they know whether we paid the right claims? Again, they would do a sample check or maybe go through all the policies to make sure the correct claims were made. Now, their tech team just goes through the code on the smart contract, and because it's shared on the Ethereum private network, they can actually check that code. So they know whenever the payout was made, it was made using the correct rules. So those are our hypotheses of the benefits. We'll know more. So why we are building the 3 benefits, as I said, we are testing and learning. And as an innovation lab, if we are learning, then we are adding value to our parent company, MetLife. Our hypothesis is it is cheaper. Our initial hypothesis was that if we build this ground up, it's going to be 10 times cheaper. It's not really 10 times cheaper, but equivalent systems to what we have built would cost at least 3 times more off the shelf. So it was low 6 figures. That's what it cost us to build this whole system. And lastly, we have created it in ways where we can launch different kinds of parametric health insurance using the same platform. Excuse me. So those are the 3 benefits to MetLife for building this platform. We are now testing this in Singapore in a live environment. I would still call this an experiment because it's not full-fledged production. We are not going to do 30-year term life policies on the system. We'll test it with a handful of customers with a short health insurance policy in Singapore. So it's live, but it's still experiment in our minds. And see at the end of 6 months, the hypothesis that we have, whether the benefits are actually correct or not. It took us a lot of time to get us where we are. We worked with a lot of parties, both internal and external. And whenever we give a presentation, we like to put this up there. So that it's a kudos to all the different parties that worked together over the past 2 years to make this happen. Why are we building this again? Where's the future? We do an experiment in Singapore. If this works, we will do another experiment in another country using a different health system or a health record or a different use case. And if possible, it becomes a platform that allows us to launch short-term parametric health insurance globally. And that would be the potential benefit. Again, potential, we'll only know over the course of time. This is for internal. I don't think this crowd needs why distributed versus centralized. Obviously, we didn't do it alone. There was a big team with me to get this done. And I'll skip to the last slide. What it allows us to do is it allows us to apply new risk pools, go and launch an insurance policy for a new risk pool very, very quickly. It almost becomes like a platform as a service that we could give to MetLife in any country if we have access to data, which is, I think, the biggest assumption before we do any blockchain in the health space. If we have access to the right data, we could spin up an instance of the app, underwrite the customer instantly, and also process the whole claims as a standalone platform using this in any geography. And that's why we are building this, and hopefully that's will be what we gain at the end of the day in a couple of years' time. With that, that's the end of the so-called presentation. I wanted to keep it short and simple. Any questions around the platform, around the tech, what we have done? More than happy to entertain. I have 5 minutes before the next one, as per agenda, starts at 11:30. But questions? No? Okay. So, Dean, what do I do now? Do I keep standing here? Or should we start the panel?
Thank you very much. That was very engaging and enlightening. So guys, so we have a panel just kicking off now, and we are 5 minutes early, so I just want to make sure everybody is here. I'll double check.